Yeah. I think that's important location. Thank you. Don't know.
Oh.
Good to see you.
Oh, right.
Hey. Let's
I will reach out.
Good evening. Let's call this meeting to order. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Weinberg,
Here, I hear an echo, by the way.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Present.
Commissioner Friedland,
Present.
Commissioner Joel,
Here.
Commissioner Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Stern,
Here.
Mr. Wasson.
Here.
And Mr. Myers. You have a quorum.
Thank you. This is our first budget public hearing. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Okay, first reading of this ordinance, item 3A. Madam Clerk, can you read this item?
An ordinance of the city of Aventura, Florida, establishing and adopting the city of Aventura ad valorem tax operating millage levy rate at 1.7261 mils per $1,000 of taxable assessed property value, which as a percent change of rolled back rate of 1.5573 mils is 10.84% above the rollback rate computed pursuant to state law for the 2023 tax year, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Can I have a motion to approve? Commissioner Stern. Could I have a second? Commissioner Cruz. Mr. Manager, you want to review this item?
Thank you, Mayor. This first one. Just for everybody's information, we've installed a new sound system. And we don't have normally, we haven't been able to test it with a full audience. So during the night, there will be some adjustments to make it sound a little better to you out there. So anyway, this ordinance sets our millage rate. It's the 24th year in a row, which is really an accomplishment. It's really goes to sound conservative budgeting, and in Aventura, we're well known for that. This millage rate, as I said, is 24th year in a row, will generate $20,507,334 on an assessed property value of $12,506,035,242, which we saw an increase of almost $1 billion of our property values this year. That's the first ordinance.
Any member of the commission? Any questions or comments? Okay, I'll open up for public comment on this issue regarding the millage rate. Anybody have a comment from the public? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion and ask for a vote.
Commissioner Friedland,
Yes.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Stern,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Yes.
and Mayor Weinberg.
Yes,
The motion passes.
okay, 3B, please.
An ordinance of the city of Aventura, Florida, adopting the attached tentative operating and capital budget as reviewed and approved by the city commission at the review meeting held on July 20, 2023, as the city of Aventura final budget for the 2023-2024 fiscal year pursuant to section 4.05 of the city charter, authorizing expenditure of funds established by the budget, providing for budgetary control, providing for personnel authorization, providing for gifts and grants, providing for amendments, providing for procedures regarding encumbrances and the reappropriation of unexpended capital appropriations, establishing the committed fund balance for capital reserve, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve? Commissioner Friedland and second, Vice Mayor Bloom. Any comments or questions from the commission? Comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll close it. Ask for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Stern,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedland,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Yes.
and Mayor Weinberg.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, how about a motion to adjourn, please? Commissioner Bloom, Vice Mayor Bloom, sorry, second, Commissioner Cruz. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Okay, now, acting as the LPA, I'm going to call the local planning agency meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Weinberg,
Still here.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Here.
Commissioner Friedland,
Present.
Commissioner Joel,
Here.
Commissioner Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Stern.
Here.
Mr. Wasson. And Mr. Myers.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from June 6th? Commissioner Bloom and a second, Commissioner Stern. Can we have a roll call vote on the minutes, please?
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Stern,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedland,
Yes.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Yes.
and Mayor Weinberg.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Item 4 is a public hearing, motion recommending adoption of the following resolution that the clerk will read, but first I'll ask the city attorney to provide the procedures for quasi judicial hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, we have to read these rules into the record. Please be advised that item 4A on the local planning agency agenda is a zoning hearing and is quasi judicial in nature. As such, the quasi judicial procedures of the city shall be invoked for this item as indicated next to the item. If you wish to object or comment upon this item, please inform the mayor when public comments are requested. An opportunity for persons to speak on this item will be made available after the applicant staff have made their presentations on the item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation for this quasi judicial item. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you refuse either to be cross-examined or be sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the commission to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for their organizations. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. Those are the rules, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, and I'd ask the clerk to swear in anyone that will be offering testimony and then to read the ordinance.
Okay, if you will be speaking on this item, item 4, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn in at this time. This is item 4 on the local planning agency meeting agenda. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You're asking me to read it. Okay.
Okay,
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, granting conditional use approval pursuant to section 31-145E of the City Code of Ordinances. 1, to permit a density of 47 dwelling units per acre, where the city code permits 25. 2, to permit heights up to 24 stories, 260 feet, where the city code permits 10 stories, 100 feet. 3, to permit units with floor areas no lower than 658 square feet, where the minimum requirement is 900 square feet. And 4, to permit 1,690 parking spaces, where 2,112 spaces are required by the city code for the property located at 20801 through 20807 Biscayne Boulevard, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date.
thank you. Could I have a Motion to adopt. Vice Mayor Bloom in a second. Commissioner Cruz. Community Development Director, would you like to review this item, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this item, as you heard the address, but more simply, it's between 207th Street and 209th Street on Biscayne Boulevard, the east side of Biscayne Boulevard. You may recall that a project was approved in 2021 for Aventura Corporate Center to have a redevelopment of the site from what is currently an office park to a mixed-use development to complement Park Square, which was a very successful project just across the street from this. In April of this year, they returned to City Commission at a workshop to ask for an amendment to their approval. And their amendment was in order to eliminate the office portion of the redevelopment project, leave the existing office, the Morgan Stanley office in place, but switch the residential from the back side to the front side and increase the amount of residential. So that was presented in April at workshop. It returned to the City Commission at public hearings in June and July. In June for comp plan and rezoning, and again in July for comprehensive plan and rezoning. Tonight is the final approval for this redevelopment, the change, the amended plan, which is a conditional use approval. And the conditional use approvals that they're asking for density, as you heard in the resolution, height, parking, and unit size. If we could have the presentation up on the screen. This is an existing picture of the Aventura Corporate Center. You're looking from, and we have a new screen up here, so those in the audience don't have to turn.
Let me just say, this is the very first use, so that everyone doesn't get a stiff neck looking all the way over there. Now you have options. This was just installed. It's actually being tested right now.
So this is looking towards Biscayne Boulevard from the existing AC Hotel. And this is how that view would look upon this project being constructed, still looking from the AC Hotel west towards Biscayne Boulevard. The applicant is here. I have a full presentation if you'd like them to present it. I know you've heard about this project several times, so I can keep it short and say they meet all the standards to request the conditional use approvals that they've asked for. Staff is very supportive. We believe this project is in concert with what we're trying to accomplish, bringing the mixed use in, bringing residential towards Biscayne Boulevard, close to the new transit station, and providing a live, work, play environment where individuals of many different aspects would be coming as they have with the increase in the number of residential units, they have a wide range of units available in their proposed project. So I'm glad to answer any questions, or we can move to the applicant presenting if you so choose.
Questions or comments from the commission, or would you like to hear from the applicant first? What's your pleasure?
I'd hear from the applicant.
Okay, we'll move to the applicant presentation.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff. Mickey Marrero from Burkheimer Del Fernandez, Larkin and Tappan is here on behalf of the ownership team for Aventura Corporate Center. With me today, Jeffrey Davis and Kyle Friedland from ownership, Robert Bazold from Ziskovich Architects, Juan Espinoza from Plumber, our traffic engineer, and my partner, Jeff Burkow. As Kevin said, I think you've all seen this a few times. We came to workshop with this change in April. And the reason we came with the change, we're very excited about the project when it was approved. We're hoping it's going forward. Two significant events happened that had us reconsider this project. One of them was, as you know, one of the biggest tenant on the site is Morgan Stanley. They occupy that building where the AC Hotel is on the back of the property. That first version of the project required their cooperation in moving, relocating for the construction of the new office building. They had no desire to do that, which is totally understandable. Had we gone forward, we would have lost probably one of the most significant tenants, not just in our property, but in the city. And that was one consideration. The other, just as important, the lending appetite for office space in this region has dropped significantly since we started envisioning this project. And we just weren't able to, wouldn't have gotten the lending we needed for that version of the project. So we went back to the drawing board with Ziskovich, working with your staff, and basically reduced the office square footage and increased the residential density on the project. That is why we went to workshop in April, and that is why you all considered and approved at the prior two commission meetings modification that would allow us to achieve that higher density through conditional use, which is what we're here to do today. One thing that I thought was critical to us being here, and we probably would not be here without it, traffic had to be at least equal or less. And thankfully for us, and Mr. Espinoza is here, if you have any questions for him, the traffic was reduced because the office creates a lot of traffic and it, was okay then, but this version is actually less traffic, less trip generation at both times of peak hours than the prior version. So that really makes us easier to make this ask when we know we're going to be bringing less traffic. So we're very excited about the project. The increase in density is not quite double, but it was 270 units. Now we're at 495. It provides a greater variety of units and really encourages this true mixed use project that will have proximity to the Brightline station. And really some of the macro things that we're looking at citywide are addressed by this project. So we're here to answer any questions you might have. If you want to hear from our architect or our traffic engineer, they're here as well, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions. I will say there were several conditions in the staff report. We've gone over those with staff and we agree to those, with all those conditions. So with that, I would conclude and be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Questions or comments from the commission? Oh, I forgot. You can just. Aha, Commissioner Marks.
I have a couple of questions. I think they're for Kevin though, because Kevin, you did the standards for review, correct? So you provided the responses under the standards for review.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing. What
I know we can't hear you up here either.
tough.
So this is an easy thing. We'll just vote whatever and we don't know what we're voting for, which is not a good thing.
I heard you say standards of review, but I didn't hear the question.
Standards for review. Did you prepare the responses under the standards for review?
Yes,
Okay, so can I go through a couple questions there?
sure.
All right, it talks about utilities, roadway capacity, drainage, blah, 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 at the city's adopted levels of service.
Yes.
Okay. How can we say in that area where traffic is already heavy, that if we have 495 units, let's say they each have 2 cars, that's 990 units, there's still commercial on that property. So we still have those people. Explain to me how that is not going to impact traffic.
So what this says is it meets the city's existing adopted level of service. Many years ago in Miami-Dade County, a urban infill area was adopted, which basically said we can no longer rely on roadways to meet our traffic requirements. So the adopted level of service is now a mobility level of service. And as Mr. Marrero just said, there are conditions of approval for this, and they are providing a shuttle and a contribution to the city's freebie system. So these are the new types of level of service provisions that are required of projects because we can't build our way out of traffic with more and more roadways. It just isn't working. So the level of service that's referred to in here is a transportation level of service, making sure people can get around, not necessarily in single occupied vehicles.
So from a practicality standpoint, then, not necessarily, can you hear me? I know. Can you hear me like this better? or-
Yes, very much so.
But now the audience can't hear. Can you all hear me?
Right, but Right.
Oh, okay, for the recording. Okay. So we're going to have access to the Bright Line. They have to supply a shuttle. That is based on the fact that we are believing all of these people, or a large number of these people, are going to be taking a shuttle every day up and back to the Bright Line. Where did we come up with an answer like that? I'm just curious. Based on where everyone else lives and what everyone else does, how did we determine this one project? People who move into it are absolutely going to be using the Bright Line.
So there's no way to determine how individual residents are going to move around. But what you can do, and maybe this would be a good question for the transportation engineer who could also give some percentages to it. But it's not just about the Bright Line station. It's about freebie. It's about walking and biking. It's about staying in place, working, living, and recreating within a place where you don't have to make as many vehicular trips, but is also about those that might work downtown Miami being able to take alternative means, or even Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. So it's percentage based. It's not, predictive.
Okay, so that area is very congested as it is in 207. I don't have as much information about 209. I'll have to go over there and really kind of park and watch, but 207 gets very congested at several times of the day. The ingress and egress, is it going to be out of 207, out of 209, out of both? What will the ingress and egress be?
Yeah, I would like the project engineer to present at this point. The answer is yes to all of those.
Okay.
But there are certain movements that would be better for them to
Okay,
talk
my
about.
my last question about this. I believe I have attended any of the meetings where this project has been presented going back a few years. Never did I see anything where we are going to allow units of 600 square feet to be built in a project. And then in the same information packet, it's saying we will make sure that they can't do short-term housing. They have to be there at least for 4 months because we don't want to make it a hotel, which leads me to be concerned that maybe these 600 square foot units are going to be rented out so we can do 4 months instead of 3 and meet this requirement. And this part has not been workshopped. And I can't speak to, that this is a new commission. And we never really had a serious discussion about this with the new commission. So the only people really who would be familiar with the older commission would be Billy Joel. Howard, you were there for you were there for a couple of the years. When Enid was the mayor, you were 100% on the commission.
2020 is when I left.
Yeah. So one of the discussions was about, we don't want to have anything come to a meeting that isn't workshop first so that we have time to flesh things out. Because, and again, one of the things that was discussed is that's where the public can come and hear what's going on and hear the conversation, because here the public can't ask a question and get an answer. All they can do is bring a question up. So it's not that I am opposed to the project. I'm opposed to the process.
Okay.
And I think there are some questions that just need to be answered more in a workshop environment.
Okay.
Thank you.
So noted. Thank you.
Good evening again. I'll let Mr. Espinoza come in a second, but just to address the question on unit size. It's actually something I've been thinking of, not just about this project in a macro sense, because we have had some workshops with Kevin and, the folks in the real estate and development community about what would be good changes. And I just want to address that for a second. So first, the unit sizes were in the plan that was shown in April. They were there. It just wasn't really something, I don't know if it was discussed briefly, but there was a lot of discussion on height, on density, on access to and from Park Square. When we talked about all those things, the unit size just wasn't something that came up. But I give you my thoughts, and I think our team's thoughts on it. When you have a small project, let's say 50, 100 units, you're limited in the product that you can offer. Here we have enough units, and we're creating a small community And that gives us the ability to offer variety of options to folks that want to live in this community. This community is offering things on the ground level. When Aventura was originally developed, it was suburban. You had your green space at the country club, at the golf course, then you had your retail primarily at the mall along Biscayne Boulevard. In the last decade, that has been evolving into a more urban community, and mixed use is something that is obviously a good thing
Great.
for most
Mhm.
communities. So when you had a suburban community, folks needed more room in their unit because they couldn't go downstairs and get a bite to eat. They couldn't grab a shuttle to go to the mall. They had to do a lot of things in their unit. That's why I think these larger unit sizes, which frankly are a lot bigger, the minimums here are much bigger than just about any community that I deal with in Miami-Dade County. Here, and we're also talking about affordability, not affordable housing, but can people afford to live in Aventura? We've had discussions on hero housing for other projects. That ordinance is something that you all have supported. Here, it's something else. But if you're a young professional that wants to live in a mixed-use community that has transportation access, that has retail and groceries and restaurants right downstairs, but you don't need 1,000 square feet. You need a small one-bedroom unit, and you can't afford 1,000 because rent is a function of size. What's the price per square unit? So you're giving these 50 or so people that are going to live in these slightly smaller units the ability to live in this project, where otherwise they wouldn't be allowed. Just like we have some small units, there's no request for can we go bigger, but there are a lot more units that are 3-bedroom that are actually bigger than the minimum. So it gives us the ability to give you units that are smaller to attract that young professional, that single person that just doesn't need that much room and can now get into this building with that. But you're also giving the options that we wouldn't otherwise have for folks that have 2 or 3 children that want to live in a 3-bedroom larger unit. There are a lot of larger units. Out of the 495, I think the most significant number are 2 bedrooms. There are 3 bedrooms, and then I think there's just about 50 that are below the 900 minimum. But if you look at almost any other community in Miami-Dade County, that minimum is much lower because they've been developed in a different atmosphere. So I don't think it's really a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. And it's something that might be changing the code. As to your question on short-term rental, frankly, that's a condition staff put in there. We had no problem agreeing to it. We actually had met with the AC Hotel at the very beginning of this project on the first version and had to enter into a covenant in lieu with them because the project is the property is from a zoning perspective as a whole. And one of the things that they required us to agree to so they wouldn't compete with them was that we wouldn't do short-term rental. We've never wanted to do, nor we ever will we do short-term rental. It's a condition that's there as a protection for you, but these smaller units are not meant in any way to do any short-term rental. We don't want it in our project. We've promised our hotel that we're not going to have it. So we're absolutely not going to have that. So it was a very easy condition for us to agree to. So with that, Juan, if you could just come up and address some of the questions about access to and from the site and anything else.
Yeah, good evening. Juan Espinosa with David Plummer and Associates. The majority of the access
Can't
is
hear
on 209.
Excuse me one
Sorry.
second. Is there any way we can do anything to tune up the sound? No, to get rid of this echo. It's impossible to hear, and this is important information. We'd like to hear what you have to say.
So,
Keep talking so they can try to.
okay,
adjust
so
it
the
with-
access is going to be on 209. About 90% of the trips are going to be on 209. There's a small access on 207, which is for the commercial and some loading. And of course, there's an access on US 1 that takes you to the drop-off area. But most of the access is on 209.
Explain to me about 1,600 parking spaces where it was zoned for 21 or 2,200.
So what we did a shared parking analysis. For example, where there was going to be a sharing of the parking. For example, in the morning, the residents will leave and there will be available parking that could be used by the office and the office tenants. And the same happened in the afternoon. When the office leaves, there's available parking for the residents. So it's a shared parking analysis.
To that point, I just want to point out, this is not a unique request. Many of the projects that we have, especially in the city, that are mixed-use projects do have a shared parking component to it. Obviously, folks that are working and going somewhere else don't need a space that someone that's 9 to 5 in an office building needs. So this way, we don't have this white elephant parking garage with unused spaces. I can tell you Park Square, for example, had a significant parking reduction. What we learned from that project, and there are spaces in those garages that are unused. What we learned from that project is to improve the drop off and the valet. That's one weakness of that project that we learned to improve here. But as far as a number of spaces, they received a significant shared parking reduction based on the same principles. And the number of spaces hasn't been an issue. One of the things that we want to do to encourage transit and encourage better use of space is not have floors and floors of unused parking. So that's just something that's in your code, and it's based on science. You qualify percentage of office, percentage of residential, and you do a calculation, and that's what we get.
Anything else, Commissioner? Anyone, other questions? No? Oh, I'm sorry. Vice Mayor Bloom.
Just a quick question for clarification so that I understand. The shuttle, is the shuttle specifically for use to the Brightline station and back, or is the shuttle also going to be dropping off in other points in the city?
It could be for other points. I think the primary reason you all asked for it was for the Bright Line. That will be a significant portion of it, but we're open to have it go to the mall, the country club, to other places where folks want to be.
And I
There's
would,
also a freebie that we're contributing to
Right.
as well.
the freebie, I know.
Significant contribution to the freebie. That's more like an on-demand service.
And the shuttle is for residents only, or also for the people, the patrons that are using the commercial?
It could be both. Yeah,
It could be-
absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Won't be checking IDs in the show.
Commissioner Cruz, and then Commissioner Stern, then Commissioner Freeland.
Just a couple of quick questions having to do with, if you can answer for me, demographically speaking, what would be the difference between the type of people you're trying to attract, the families or type of people you're trying to attract to this new project versus Park Square? You've told us a little bit about the parking situation, but I'd like to hear also from the person that did your study as far as traffic and how this changes versus your original project and how that changes the traffic situation.
So I'll let Juan answer the change in the traffic. But as to the demographics, really, Jeffrey's probably, the owner's probably more in tune to that. But I would say that for this project, we're trying to attract everybody, really. That's why there's a mix of, there's two different buildings which are unique. There's a mix of units. So we're trying to attract folks that want to live in Aventura. If you're someone that's interested in using transit, this project would appeal to you. If you're someone that wants to live in an environment that has mixed use component, some people don't, but some people do. It's attracting those people that want to live in a vibrant community with access to all these resources. Different from Park Square. Park Square was, this is an office sort of theme. Park Square was a lifestyle, had living health theme. So we had the ALF, we had those components, we had some medical office in there. So that was, I don't know how different the residents makeup is, but there was definitely a theme of longevity, health, and there was like all kinds of gym and lifestyle elements that Siskovich was involved in. I don't know if Roberto has anything else to say, but that was really the sort of theme of Park Square. Here, there's not really a theme asking for what the residents want, but I think it's looking for a wide variety of demographics. That's why we have a wide variety of unit sizes to attract, if you're a single young person that just wants to be in this community, or if you're a family that needs more space, the options are there for you. And if Juan can speak to, they asked about the change, Commissioner Cruz asked about the change between the larger office percentage and how that's resulted in less traffic with this version.
So the office generates a lot of traffic. It's not only the tenants, but also the visitors through the day. During the peak hour, the morning peak hour, the trips are about the same. In the afternoon, the trips get reduced. First, you get more internalization when you have more residential. Now the project is more balanced. Used to be very office oriented. Now it's more balanced between residential, office, and commercial. And in the afternoon, office tends to do a concentrated departure. So you get all the vehicles leaving about 5 o'clock. The residential is more spread through the hours. They start about 4, 5, 6, 7, so that the peak hour elongates more. There is less traffic during the peak hours in the afternoon.
Commissioner Stern?
Just a comment. The residents are getting a benefit, make sure everybody understands this. They're funding a freebie for 10 years. And they are donating $500,000 to the city if and when we find a place to build a new school. So those are the benefits. The residents think it's important to point that out, that that's hopefully a win-win for, the residents as well as the city.
Commissioner Friedland.
I just want to say, I think the project is a beautiful project. I'm hopeful that there will be restaurants around a lake with entertainment kiosks, sailboats in that lake for our children to go and play at, and a nice entertainment venue. But with that said, at this point, until we have a comprehensive plan of the city, I will not be voting on anything that's going to increase our density. I just want to make that very clear.
Any other comments? I see none from the commission. Just want to say that maybe my thought process is somewhat counterintuitive, but I believe in it. I'm hopeful that the smaller units that will be leased by young professionals, young people getting started. I like the idea of less parking spaces. I would like them to move in without cars. I would like them to because we don't have street parking. If there's no spaces, there's nowhere to put their car. They're not parking on our streets because we don't allow it. So it will attract, in my opinion, a young professional that uses freebie, uses their bicycle, uses their legs, uses Uber when they need to, uses the Bright Line. And the idea is that they're in a live, work, and play environment. So they're not commuting to work every morning on I-95. That's what I hope it attracts, so that when people come into our city, again, as I always say, we love people coming in Aventura. We love them even more when they come without a car. So that's my position. Now, if there's no more comments, which I think they're not, oh, please.
I totally support live, work, play. I think it's definitely the best type of environment because it does allow people to have an opportunity to do all three things without having to, move about a lot. But I also know that there's something called reality. And I find it hard to believe, and I'll speak to Kevin about this. I find it hard to believe that just because we think people should move in and not use their cars, that's really going to happen, because that is not the model in this city. And so while I would have loved to have this workshop so we could have fleshed out some of the last few things here, like the size and such, which we didn't discuss, I'm going to I'd like it on the record that the reason I will be voting no, where I would like to support this project, is just that I can't believe without some statistical data that people are simply magically not going to bring cars. I think it's a great idea if they will and do bicycles, and that's wonderful, but I don't have anything at this point to make me believe that's going to happen. So I just want it on the record that I'll have to vote no. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other commission comment, I'll open it for public comment. On this particular item only, if anyone would like to speak on this item, please come forward now. Not seeing a big rush, I will close the item for public comment and ask for a vote, please.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
No.
Commissioner Stern,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedland,
No.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Yes.
and Mayor Weinberg.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, how about a motion to adjourn? Vice Mayor Bloom, and a second, Commissioner Friedland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone want to keep this meeting open? Okay, we're adjourned.
I have more papers here.
Okay, now you need,
City Commission.
now let's call the commission meeting to order with a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Weinberg,
Here.
Vice Mayor Bloom. Vice Mayor Bloom,
Here.
Commissioner Friedland, Commissioner Joel,
Present.
Commissioner Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Stern, Mr. Watson? And Mr. Myers? Mr. Myers is here. You have a quorum.
Thank you. We already did the pledge. Let me ask if there's the managers of any deletions or additions to the agenda.
No, Mayor, none tonight.
Okay. We're going to do special presentations, but I just wanted to indicate for those of you that may or may not have been paying attention, what we did in the first meeting is pretty remarkable, in my opinion. We just, for the 29th year, which is every year we've been in existence, we just set the mill rate at 1.72. That is the lowest tax rate of any municipality in Miami-Dade or Broward. And that is worth applause. If you look at our level of service, if you look at our crime prevention, if you look at our amenities, we do it very efficiently. We take less of your tax dollars than any other city. It doesn't matter if you move to a bigger city or a smaller city. You're going to pay more tax to the city than if you live here. It's pretty remarkable. And by the way, it's never gone up in Aventura ever. Now, keep in mind, the taxes you pay, your property taxes, only about 10% of them go to the city of Aventura. The other 90% are taken by Dade County Public Schools, Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. So when you realize that you're not happy with the amount you're paying in taxes, that's who you should complain to. When it comes to the city, number one lowest. And that's a tribute to the commission. That's a tribute to the staff. That's a tribute to the manager. And it's been that way since the very beginning. And as far as all of us are concerned, it's going to continue that way. So thank you, Mr. Manager, and to the staff.
Thank you, Mayor, for explaining that we've been able to keep the millage rate low. I did have some questions, and I think it's important to explain. People said, well, my tax bill went up for the city of Aventura. So just for anyone who may not understand, your assessment went up on the value of your unit, but the millage rate stayed the same. So what you need to understand is we're not taxing you anymore. Miami-Dade set the your new property values. So please, as you look at your tax bill, it's important for you to know that it's really a really big thing for the city to keep things where it is. Thank you.
And maybe I'm telling you something that everybody knows, but 1.72 means $1.72 for every $1,000 of assessed value. So if the assessed value goes up, you're paying $1.72 on more thousands. But there are many communities where that number would be $8 or more, or $6 or more. Ours is $1.72. So it's a bargain, as they say. Yes.
I just also want to comment that if this is your homestead, if you use this as your homestead, that your taxes can only go up to 3%, I believe, is the maximum they could go up. So even if your value of your property went up 10 or 20%, you can only be taxed up to 3% more.
Is anyone here from Feeding South Florida? You are, okay. So the first, we're going to give a proclamation. I'm going to read it. It happens to be September is Hunger Action Month. Let me read Allison VAULX. I'm not going to try it, but come on up. I'm going to read this, and then we're all going to come down and take a picture with you, and then you're free to speak. So, whereas September is Hunger Action Month, an initiative created by Feeding America to help raise awareness about the issue of hunger in the United States and in local communities. And I'm taking a break because Commissioner Friedland has been very, very, very active in Feeding South Florida. And I would like for her to read the rest of this until the part where I have to read it, but you deserve this. I'm here.
Whereas Feeding America food banks across the nation, including Feeding South Florida, will host several events throughout September to raise awareness about the issue of hunger and inspire action towards ending hunger in our local communities. And whereas Feeding South Florida has worked to end hunger since 1981 by providing food and grocery products to those in need in South Florida, including children and seniors. And whereas the city of Aventura would like to recognize Feeding South Florida, a leading domestic hunger relief organization, for their efforts in serving a larger percentage of the food insecure population throughout South Florida, including Miami-Dade County.
Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Howard S. Weinberg, as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, do hereby proclaim September 2023 as Hunger Action Month in the City of Aventura and encourage our residents to join in the initiative to end hunger. Thank you so much. Commissioners?
I just wanted to make another special point about Feeding South Florida. The mayor, Howard Weinberg, our former mayor, Enid Weissman, myself, and a few other volunteers, including Evan Ross, worked with Feeding South Florida when they brought their vans and trucks to the Aventura Turnberry Jewish Center during the pandemic, and we fed over 800 people. And it was all with the donations and help from Feeding South Florida and our volunteers and organization. So we are really grateful to them in the city of Aventura, and so happy to honor them again today.
Thank you all so much. My name is Allison. I'm the AVP of Philanthropy for Feeding South Florida, and just want to express our most sincerest gratitude for this proclamation and for your support with our work throughout South Florida. We serve about 1 million individuals annually who are in need of food assistance, and also who take advantage of the other opportunities that we provide to help move families, individuals out of poverty. We have a workforce development program that's completely free, providing warehouse training and culinary training. And so our goal is not just to provide the food assistance, but also to help families live better lives, whatever that means to them with the work that we're doing. So on behalf of our CEO, Paco Velez, and our entire organization and the families that we serve, thank you so much for this incredible honor.
Thank you so much, Allison. Interestingly enough, kind of dovetails perfectly into a certificate of special recognition that I want to give to Matt Jonah from Plum Market. Come on up, Matt. You correct any mistakes that I make, but so it's a Michigan store, and we were your first Florida store.
Yes.
And I remember when you came here, immediately what you dove into was looking for locally sourced food products, organic food products, and helping out the small business person who was baking healthy food and looking for a place, looking for store shelves where their food could be sold. And that's what you look for. And
Correct.
also, as I understand it from when I toured your facility, the food that I would buy there, ready to eat, is all made right there in your beautiful kitchen. It's not partially made and or half cooked or whatever. They're making it there from scratch.
Correct.
The part that dovetail nicely is I know that you made a commitment to taking leftover food. You don't throw it away. You donate it to the food banks, fresh food, the kosher food bank, other food
Absolutely.
banks, Feeding South Florida. And I'm going to want you to speak and tell us whatever I'm missing, but we'll come down. But let me just read this. It's just a certificate of special recognition. By the way, you also came and joined the Aventura Marketing Council Chamber of Commerce at the highest level. I think you're on the board with Commissioner Stern, if I'm not mistaken, but somebody from your organization is on the board. Certificate of special recognition presented to Plum Market in recognition of your dedication and commitment to supporting local organizations, partnering with local farmers, and offering a variety of healthy and sustainable products. The City Commission of the City of Aventura applauds your devotion as a vital member of our community. 5th day of September, 2023. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's go. Okay, Matt.
So just want to thank everybody. When we came to Aventura, it was really important to us that we came as a local brand. And we support over 300 local farmers and different purveyors of products. And it's something we noticed that grocery stores in Aventura really didn't have. So it's really just, we're really proud to be here, really proud to support the local ecosystem of the community. And it's just been a welcome that we've never seen before. We have over 7,000 people that come through our store every week and growing. And we're just very, very blessed to have all of you support us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is the icing on the cake.
Okay. One more proclamation. This one is very, very, very special to me. September is also National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And I have to tell you that really, I feel very, very fortunate to have been able to work with and get to know and support. There's really 3 women that I find to be the most remarkable women that I've ever spent time with. These women all faced tragedy, terrible, terrible tragedy, and made it their life's work so that others don't have to suffer. It's absolutely remarkable. And so I'm just giving a shout out to 2 of them before we present the proclamation to the 3rd one. First, as you see, this never leaves my wrist for, I don't know how long, at least a decade, maybe 15 years. This is Lauren's kids. Lauren Book, who's now Senator Lauren Book, who was a victim of childhood sexual abuse, terrible abuse for many years. Who would think? The nanny. Could have been any of us. It was the nanny. She took that terrible tragedy and she has now saved thousands upon thousands of children, where she teaches them that there's certain secrets that you don't keep. Just a remarkable, absolutely remarkable woman. Second woman, so nice to see that she's here, Stacy Levy. Hello, Stacy. Thank you for being here. Stacy founded Ellie's Army after she lost her daughter to cystic fibrosis. Every year, I'm happy to say I've never missed it, the Dirty Socks 5K around our circle. Dirty Socks is because when Ellie was Ellie was always a fighter, but as Ellie was fighting after lung transplants, twice, double lung transplants twice, the doctor said, now you have to walk around the hospital. You have to exercise your lungs. I want to see those dirty socks in the morning. From what I understand, those dirty socks are framed on the wall of the doctor. And Stacy has made it her life's work to ensure that families that are facing this have the financial means if they have to travel for a special procedure, if they don't have the right insurance, if they just can't afford what's happening. She raises money for them. She brings them comfort. And it's absolutely remarkable. The next Dirty Socks will be coming up after the new year, and it'll be another spectacular event. Which brings me now to Sylvia and the Mystic Force Foundation, Sylvia Vanni. Sylvia's son, Sal, is, as she says beautifully, forever 7. She lost her son to childhood cancer, and you're going to speak, but I have to say a few words. Can't even imagine the pain and the frustration. Your husband is a surgeon, and did everything possible. Your son was such a fighter. I'm so pleased that for many years I've been at bike giveaways, happy hour fundraisers. When you speak at the League of Cities, whatever it is, we did a public service announcement last week, and your organization is unbelievable. And every day you're out helping families who are fighting. And I'm going to read the proclamation. We're going to come down there. I actually just thought of a much better way to do it in the future. When we do proclamations, why don't we have one person come up here and take a picture here rather than all of us come down there? Hello. Sorry, I was a little slow on that, but you'll come up here. We'll take a picture at the seal and then you'll speak. But I'll read this. Whereas September has been designated National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to honor those children whose lives have been lost, those irrevocably impacted by this terrible illness, and to strengthen the nation's resolve to search for a cure. And whereas cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among U.S. children between infancy and 15 years of age. And whereas childhood cancers cross all racial, ethnic, geographic, and socioeconomic backgrounds, and each year, tens of thousands of children face the battle of cancer with incredible bravery and inspiring hope. And whereas the city of Aventura recognizes the devastating impact that this disease has on members of our community and the importance of increased research on childhood cancer. And whereas this month we recognize that these burdens are shared by countless dedicated healthcare professionals, organizations, charities, and parent advocacy groups that support patients and families by offering advice, encouragement, hope, and financial assistance, and work tirelessly to lift the spirits of children suffering from cancer. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Howard S. Weinberg, as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, do hereby proclaim September 2023 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the city of Aventura. Congratulations. Come on up. Bring whoever you want.
Thank you so much. I have to say that the city of Aventura has always been so supportive. And every year when we send out our requests for proclamations and for cities to support our children, the city of Aventura is always, always the very first to reply. So thank you. Before I talk about our foundation, I want to tell you a little bit about Sal, for those of you who don't know him, because he's my inspiration and the reason for everything that I do. Sal was a very happy and healthy 4.5 years old when he was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma cancer, which is the most common childhood cancer in small children. We were given a 20% chance for him to live 5 years. And that's when we realized during research, even though my husband's a neurosurgeon, we didn't really know anything about childhood cancer, and we didn't realize how little money went to childhood cancer research. So we decided we were going to do everything that we could to try and save his life. We started a lab at the University of Miami, strictly for childhood cancer research, and we started fundraising. In 3.5 years of treatment, Sal underwent 55 cycles of chemotherapy, 50 rounds of radiation. He had 12 major surgeries. He had over 200 blood and platelet transfusions. He had to have 4-point bone marrow biopsies and nuclear scans every 3 months. He was treated in 7 different hospitals across 5 different states. Wherever there was a treatment option available for him, that's where we went. And he was inpatient for over 440 days of his short life. And that doesn't include the day hospital where we spent endless days and hours. After Sal passed away, I knew that I needed to do more for our children. It's very important to find a cure for them. That is our main goal. But these children go through so much. And our other very important mission is to keep our children as happy as possible while they battle this devastating disease. We opened a childhood cancer haven that supports children from all over the world treated in our South Florida hospitals. It is a safe haven for them where it is germ-free. They can come and we have different types of parties. We celebrate birthdays. We have end of chemo celebrations. We do whatever we can to keep them as happy as possible. We also grant wishes for them. And our wishes are anything from as small as a wig for a 13-year-old that was embarrassed to go outside, to my favorite wish, which was a $100,000 germ-free backyard playground for a little girl who was 2 years old and had just come out of stem cell transplant.
Our children are always immunocompromised. They can't go to toy stores. They can't go to playgrounds. They're very limited in what they could do. And the mom had asked me if I could get her a playground, but I couldn't just do that. A swing set. I couldn't just do that because she wouldn't be able to go outside and play on that playground. So it was very important to us. And we built that playground with companies and corporations from across the United States, all through in-kind donations. We had artificial turf. We had everything as germ-free as possible for this little girl. And I am so happy and proud to say that she is 5 years cancer-free and doing amazing. I am so thankful for everyone who helps us to help our children. I'd like to introduce you to Esther from our foundation and Kathy. And this is Ada Ivis and her husband Lázaro. And their son has been a part of not just our foundation, because all of the children become like family to us. He was diagnosed at the age of 13 months with the same cancer as Sal. He has neuroblastoma. And he passed away this March at the age of 8. He battled for over 7 years and ended up developing a secondary brain tumor due to all the harsh chemotherapies that were used to try and save his life. Unfortunately, most people don't realize, they don't understand what our children go through. They don't understand not just how little funding goes through it, but our children have higher chances of developing secondary cancers because of the harsh chemotherapies that are used to save their lives. There's so much that our children go through, and the only way we will ever find cures for our children is to raise awareness, is to let the public know what our children go through. So I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, from all of the children and families that we support. Thank you for helping to raise awareness of this devastating disease for them. Thank you.
Sylvia, I've known you for a long time, and the story you just told, it bears repeating. And when you mentioned it, and it was even mentioned in your script for the public service announcement, it was a little stunning to me, because we're actually in the middle of a debate here. We have people on both sides of an issue where there really is no right answer. And we struggle to do the right thing. And it just so happens that it's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month every September, and you always get a proclamation from us. And
Yes.
so from a timing standpoint, of course, I'm doing all the research I could, and I asked you. So in a nutshell, as you told me, a 2-year-old girl, chemotherapy, stem cell transplant, compromised immune system.
Yes.
You make dreams come true. That's one of the things you do. Her wish was to be able to play outside.
Yes.
As I understand it, you had contractors donate their time, materials. They built a PVC deck because that was safe for her as opposed to natural wood. You removed all of the grass in her backyard and you replaced it with artificial turf. And the girl was able to play outside. You made her dream come true. And now she's 5 years cancer-free. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's what you consider a survivor, right? 5 years.
After 5 years, our children are considered survivors. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Okay,
Unbelievable.
this is what you do day in and day out. It's incredible.
All day, every day.
So again, it just so happens that we have our new screen. This is the first time it's ever been used. You and I did a public service announcement that was going to hit social media and wherever else tomorrow, but we're going to play it right now because it's ready. So it's just 90 seconds, but let's, Brian, you need to hit something. Oh, here you go. Let him come in, and it should be on this screen and every other screen.
I'm Sylvia Vanni, founder and executive director of the Mystic Force Foundation, and mom to Sal, my sweet, fun-loving boy who is forever 7 because of childhood cancer. 1 in 260 children will be diagnosed with cancer by the age of 20, and that number continues to rise.
I'm Aventura Mayor Howard Weinberg. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Aventura is teaming up with Sylvia and the Mystic Force Foundation to spread awareness and help. Research to find treatments for childhood cancer is critical, and it doesn't receive enough funding.
Parents and children going through this fight need support.
Sometimes that's as simple as a toy or a fun event in the hospital.
Sometimes it's granting a wish to be a police officer for a day,
Attend a sporting event and meet their favorite player.
or using artificial turf to build a germ-free home playground for a 2-year-old girl coming out of stem cell transplant.
Mystic Force Foundation does incredible work, and every dollar they raise goes into supporting families and putting smiles on children's faces when they need them most.
Join us at mysticforcefoundation.com to learn more about how you can help and to find resources for your family if your child is battling cancer.
And keep an eye out for information from the City of Aventura throughout September as we join in the fight against childhood cancer.
I'm Sylvia Penny, founder and executive director of the Mystic Force Foundation, and mom to Sal, my sweet, fun-loving boy.
Thank you, Sylvia. We love you here.
Thank you so much.
Sylvia, I just want to say, in my journey, I am convinced there is a cure. Keep fighting.
Can I just say one more thing? So we had Sal's cells immortalized, and they are now used in laboratories all over the country to try to find a cure for kids like him.
Unbelievable. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Please come back often. I know you're only next door in North Miami Beach, but we like you here. Okay. Mr. Manager, you have a couple of special recognitions.
Good evening, everybody. This is a part of the night where we recognize employees for sometimes how long they've served or been employees of the city, or employees that have gone and done some, receiving some special recognition. And tonight we have two such people. So the first person I'd like to invite up is a PSA or police service aide who's been with the city for 10 years, Aisha Brooks. Now, PSA means police service aide. Aisha started her career with the BSO in 2008, and then she came over to us in 2013, which seems like yesterday to me. But sometimes they're mistaken for police officers, but truthfully, they do the job that most police officers don't like to do. So they are our backbone and really the people that do a lot of work that, like I said, the regular police officer doesn't want to do. They direct traffic, they cross children at school, they do accident reports, and they really do help and assist the officers to do other things. But they're critical to the mission of the department. And before, you're a mom of 3 children, a very proud mom. And I don't know if you'd like me to mention that her children's uncle was Terryson Jackson, who, if you might not know, captain in the BSO, who was tragically lost in a helicopter accident that recently occurred up in Broward County. So we thank you for your service. Okay. The next person we're recognizing has considerably more time on the police department. Will Officer Manny Gonzalez please join me up here? Manny has considerably more than the 20 years or so that he's worked in the ACES school as their school resource officer. He says almost 30 years of service, started off as a correction officer, and then he joined the Aventura Police Department. For the 5 years before he became an SRO, he did a lot of different things, but very rarely does a police officer find something that he wants to do for 20 years in the same thing. It's a special calling to be a resource police officer, to work with children every day and to see, and to be really the first person or the first interaction with law enforcement they do see. And in today's day and age, it's really critical. I don't think I've seen anybody relish at that job as much as you do. And somebody takes it as serious. Safety is his number one concern. But I think he also loves to interact with the children. And I have to tell you a brief story. I mean, I've been watching you for 5 years. We were at a movie night last year. Manny was working a little overtime. And I think Santa Claus actually has some competition. Because while we were standing there, 2 young children, I would say probably first or second grade, was standing there and they recognized Manny. And the look on their face was just unbelievable. The first thing they started saying to Mom and Mommy, listen, it's Officer Manny. And there was actually, you could just sense the excitement of seeing you, and, being that close to him. So he's retiring after a long career. He's our first police officer to serve in that capacity. And as I said, it is a calling. He's going to go up to Fort Lauderdale and hook up back with his son. That's a dream, to work with your son and go back to doing that. And we're going to sorely miss you. And I'm going to give you the microphone if you don't mind. I'll show you.
Thank you. I'm overwhelmed and full of gratitude to be able to serve this city for 26 and a half years in many capacities, but obviously the most dear to my heart is being a school resource officer and being able to serve at ACES for 20 years in a row. The opportunity that the city has given me, I can never, I can't put into words, but I completely appreciate every single one of you. I've had a fulfilling career, and just being able to be in the lives of the families, the faculty, and I walk out of here after 26 and a half years with 2 families, with the city of Aventura, the city of Aventura and everyone here, the police department, and I have my family at ACES with the faculty, staff, and all the students. So it's been a tough transition for me, but I can't express all my gratitude and appreciation for all the support throughout all these years.
Before you go, we're going to leave you with something, just a little token. Officer Manny Gonzalez, in appreciation and thanks for your dedicated public service to the residents and especially the children of Aventura from March 31st, 1997 to August 16th, 2023.
I just want to say something while Officer Manny is coming up. Not only am I honored to see him here today, but I got the honor of seeing him every morning as my children got dropped off at ACES. And he is definitely a celebrity to all the children. I know there's some kids that are here today, but we at ACES miss him dearly and we love him. And we know he's going to come back and visit us many, many times. And ACES will still be safe and secure. That's what I promise everyone, even though my kids wanted Chief Mike to replace him.
Okay. We've got, I believe, a charter school update, both ACES and Don Sofer. Okay, so you guys decide who's first. Principal May Luish. Hi. So we know you have a new SRO. Other than that,
Yeah,
tell
he's
us what's
actually one of
going
my
on.
talking points. All right, so for those who don't know me, my name is Annabelle Hewish. I'm the new principal at ACES. We are off to an amazing, thank you. Whoever that was. Thank you guys. We are off to an amazing start as we celebrate our 20th year here at Aventura. Our teachers have focused heavily on setting expectations and building relationships, which are the foundation for strong academics that our school is known for. We'll start with FAST testing updates. Last week, our students began taking their FAST in ELA and math for progress monitoring 1. The students will test 3 times a year to measure growth. Testing will continue through the middle of September, with kindergarten being the last grade level to test, allowing them a little more time to become acclimated to our school and what a structured day looks like. This will give our teachers and instructional support a baseline of where our students currently are at and how they can support in closing gaps or extending learning for specific standards. All instructional staff will participate in a data dive on September 18th, which is an early release day, to devise more individualized plans for our students. As far as our acceleration/gifted group is concerned, we have continued to grow our accelerated offerings in math grades 3 through 8, with the goal that all of our students who have the desire to attend Don Sofer are coming with the minimum of the algebra requirement. We are currently in the planning phases of continuing to trickle down our math acceleration into 2nd grade, and then eventually 1st and kinder. Cambridge remains a heavy focus, with our ELA classes beginning to embed the curriculum into their lessons. We will have a parent informational night. This is formally known as Open House, and it has been rebranded to offer support to families in order to learn how to stay fully informed about their children's grades, data, goals, and overall school behavior. 5-8 will take place next Thursday, September 14th, and K4 will take place on September 21st, both in the evenings. Officer Lewis, our new SRO, obviously we miss Manny a lot, but he has done a great job at stepping into those big shoes. Our students, staff, and families have welcomed him as part of the ACES family. Finally, we have our middle school flag football and volleyball teams, which held tryouts during the first weeks of school. The teams are practicing for all of their upcoming games. Overall, the energy has been positive, and everyone is looking forward to a very successful school year.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Welcome and best of luck on your first year as principal.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm
Dr.
Jeff
McKee.
McKee, Principal Don Sofer, Aventura High School. I'm honored to fill that role. Congratulations, Anna, and congratulations to the entire ACES community. You have a wonderful leader, and we're very thankful for that because her students become our students. We are off to also a great start, but let me just say, first of all, it's really inspiring to be here today. I appreciate so much the people whom you featured. We fortunately do have soldiers who are part of Ellie's Army. We have a chapter at our school, and we'd love to establish a group to support Mystic Force Foundation. Just incredible, inspiring to our kids. And again, we just hope that we educate them well, and we hope they demonstrate that character, that resolve, that determination in accomplishing important life missions. So we definitely want to be a part of it. And Officer Manny, of course, has been an inspiration to so many of our kids over the years when they were at ACES. We, as I said, off to a great start. Sports are going very well. We are 4-1 in volleyball, hopefully 5-1. I don't know if anyone got the update from tonight, but I had to leave before it was over. But strong volleyball team. They're half freshmen too, and many of them are former ACES students. So they're doing great. Cross country is off to a great start. They're running fast, haven't had their first meet yet, but golf is still undefeated.
anyone who's part of Turnberry, thank you so much. They're undefeated for life. Went all through last season undefeated, started this year undefeated. So they're continuing to do really well, but they were able to up their time on the Turnberry course, thankfully, and that's been beneficial to them. I want to thank our entire police force, but Chief, thank you so much. Officer Williams did an amazing job. It's a very chilling experience now to prepare for the school year. We had an active shooter training, stop the bleed training, crisis response training, and you led us wonderfully, helping us to understand the gravity of the importance of that training, but also doing so in a very practical manner. So we appreciate that. We get good news pretty much every day. Last week, we received notification that 34 of our students, juniors and seniors, were identified as National Hispanic Scholars, including Andre Bentes, who's at the top of the list because his name starts with an A. Plus, he's an amazing person. But yeah, so that's, if we did it, there are 5,000 students identified for this honor in the country, and 400,000 who take the test. It's based on the PSAT and advanced placement exams. And we should qualify based on our Hispanic population, 3 students, but again, we qualified 34. So huge honor for them. We also received results from University of Cambridge in England, and they've awarded 121 of our students Cambridge ACE diplomas. So it stands for Advanced International Certificate of Education, and it's worth 100% Bright Future Scholarship in Florida, not even including the spending money. It's approximately $6 million of scholarships earned this last testing session as a result of those diplomas. So they basically can go free, plus they get spending money, no tuition, plus spending money to any of the public universities in Florida. So we're really proud of that achievement. And it was the most challenging year ever as far as the way Cambridge graded. So again, great work on those students' behalf. We have a leader who's gonna talk to you in a moment. He envisioned himself and sold that vision to everyone that he would be our premier president. I called him the statesman from the first time I met him because he's such a great politician and a great young man. He's actually also the captain of the Police Explorers. So I'm going to brag. I could brag about him for a very long time, but you're going to hear for yourselves why I think he is so special. But he was president every year on the rise, and now is the president of our Student Government Association. And he's going to speak on behalf of Don Sofer, Aventura High School. So here is President and Captain Ethan Bazak.
Thank you so much, Mayor, Commissioners, Dr. McKee. I would just real quickly like to say, I know Officer Gonzalez is not here right now, but as an explorer, as a captain for the Police Explorer program, he has played a centerpiece role in both creating the Police Explorer program and managing it and making sure that the explorers that we have, the explorers that are leaders right now in that program, are the leaders that they are today, and hopefully the leaders that they aspire to be in the future. So he played a very, very pivotal role in making sure that the future generation of leaders are actually adaptable and are actually ready for the world that they face. Now on to the actual Don Sofer updates. He went over all the statistical stuff, I guess, so I'll go over the more fun stuff. Homecoming, we have a set date. November the 4th will be our homecoming date. I know our homecoming committee has been working tirelessly to making sure that this homecoming year will be one to remember. I mean, the ones that we've had in the past definitely were, but hopefully this year's will leave a more long-lasting mark. I'd also like to introduce Dr. Beck. I know most of you guys have already seen her before, have already been introduced to her, but I know she's sitting here, so I couldn't go on without saying hi to her and waving at her. She has been very, very, very key to honestly acting as the bridge between students and administration, which has been one of my key focuses as the president of student government. It's having that relationship with Dr. McKee, having that relationship with administrators, having that relationship with Dr. Beck. Those are very important things that make sure that we as students are involved in our school and have that bridge, have that gap filled with our community. So on top of that, we also have a new audio visuals department within the school. I know that was also a very, very important task that the commission looked to having. We have morning announcements now every week, which is also a thing that we brought back from 2 years ago. So basically it's updates. It's whatever students want to hear about the school, we deliver to them with our new audio visuals department. Another very important thing with the audio visuals department is updating our pictures on the website, which have our seniors. Sometimes they have some stock images. So they've been working very diligently with Dr. Beck once more to making sure that our students' faces are on our website. So that was also a very important focus that we've been working on, the new student government. I don't think I have anything left. Thank you guys once again for always working with the students and always working with student government. Dr. McKee, also thank you for always working with us. It's been an honor and I look forward to the work that we can get done this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ethan. Nice uniform. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Does any commissioner or city manager want to remove an item? No, then I'm looking for a motion to approve consent agenda. Vice Mayor Bloom and a second, Commissioner Cruz. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Stern,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedland,
Yes.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz.
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Yes.
and Mayor Weinberg.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to 6. 6B, 6C, 6D, and 6E are going to be continued to the October meeting. That will be October 3rd. And now we're going to invoke the quasi judicial procedures once again for item 6A. Mr. City Attorney, if you want to explain those again.
Okay, unfortunately, I have to read this again. It's required by law. Please be advised that item 6A on the commission agenda is a zoning hearing as quasi judicial in nature. As such, the quasi judicial procedures of the city shall be invoked for this item as indicated next to the item. If you wish to object or comment upon this item, please inform the mayor when public comments are requested. An opportunity for persons to speak on this item will be made available after the applicant staff have made their presentations on the item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation for this quasi judicial item. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you refuse either to be cross-examined or to be sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the commission ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. Those are the procedures, Mayor.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, you want to swear in whoever is going to offer testimony?
If you will be speaking on this item, which is item 6A on the city commission meeting agenda, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand and be sworn in at this time. This is for item 6A. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Can you read the resolution, please?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, granting conditional use approval pursuant to section 31-145E of the City Code of Ordinances. 1, to permit a density of 47 dwelling units per acre, where the city code permits 25. 2, to permit heights up to 24 stories, 260 feet, where the city code permits 10 stories, 100 feet. 3, to permit units with floor areas no lower than 658 square feet, where the minimum requirement is 900 square feet. And 4, to permit 1,690 parking spaces, where 2,112 spaces are required by the city code for the property located at 20801-20807 Biscayne Boulevard, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve? Commissioner Friedland, can I have a second? Second. Commissioner Cruz. Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item was discussed earlier this evening at the local planning agency. I'd be happy to speak about it again, or I can bring my comments into this meeting and move on if you'd like.
I think we got it. Anyone need to hear it again? Okay, so no questions or comments from the commission? Oh, yes, Commissioner Freeland.
I do just want to repeat my comments from earlier today and state that while I do believe this will be a beautiful project and benefit our city with restaurants and entertainment that I'm hoping we will see with a beautiful area with a lake and a bridge and something to be nice in the community at this time, I cannot vote for it and anything that it's going to increase density at this area. Thank you.
Any other commissioner? I'll open for public comment on this issue. Okay, I don't see any, so I'll close it and ask for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Freeland,
No.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
No.
Commissioner Stern,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Yes.
and Mayor Weinberg.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, I think we're skipping all the way up to 6F. I'm not mistaken. If the clerk could read that ordinance, please.
Aventura City Commission acting in its capacity as a governing board for the Aventura City of Excellence School ACES. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending ordinance number 2022-07, which ordinance adopted a charter school operating capital budget for the Aventura City of Excellence School for fiscal year 2022-2023, July 1 to June 30th, by revising the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget document as outlined in Exhibit A attached here too, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to carry out the aims of this ordinance and providing for an effective date.
Can I have a motion? Commissioner Stern, and a second, Commissioner Marks. Any questions or comments from the commission? I see none. Am I correct? Okay, then any members of the public want to comment on this specific issue? I don't see any, so we will close it. God bless you, and we'll ask for a vote.
Commissioner Joel,
Yes.
Commissioner Cruz,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Stern,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedland,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bloom,
Yes.
and Mayor Weinberg.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, that brings us to, I believe, does any commissioner have any items to report? Commissioner Freeland? Commissioner Freeland.
We've been talking about density and zoning, and in the pursuit of gathering insight and expertise for our city's future, I reached out to Nathan Cogan, who is the Miami-Dade County Zoning Director. And I've asked Mr. Cogan to come from the county to one of our upcoming workshops and to go in further depth and explanation of the density changes in the smart corridor that are expected by Miami-Dade County. And I'm hoping that at one of our future workshops, we'll be able to sit down with him, have him come in during sunshine and explain to us where our city will fall with the plans, changes and perspectives of where our city needs to go. So I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, that that is something that I am looking into. Just wanted to acknowledge that because we're here in sunshine. I also wanted to point out that September is also Suicide Awareness Month. And our city is going to be recognizing that as well going forward. This is something near and dear to my children and my heart. And I know that we don't have a PSA or anything ready about that right now, but on the eve of my husband, what should have been his 49th birthday, my children and I are very well aware that this needs to become more of a public awareness issue, that people know to reach out and help family members and reach out and help people that need help. So I just wanted to point that out. That is something the city of Aventura will be recognizing in the future. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. That's very important. Commissioner Cruz?
I'd also like to comment on this month. It's a heavy-duty month. There's a lot going on, no question. But it's also the anniversary of 9/11, which comes up next week. And I just recall the feeling that we all had, the terrible sinking feeling that we all had that day. And the way that we united as Americans across the country, putting aside ideological and political differences, racial differences, and everything else. So I think it's important that we remember that and remember what brings us together as Americans is so much more important and so much bigger than what draws us apart. And here at the city of Aventura, we very much believe that we try to do what we think is overall in the city's best interest. So it's really important, and I see that. I'm very proud that in our city, we may have our differences, but we can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. And that way be a model to other cities and other municipalities around the country. And I feel very blessed and fortunate to be part of this, as we should all be. And also I want to wish a few days after that is going to be the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. So I want to wish all our Jewish residents a very happy, healthy, sweet, and peaceful New Year.
Thank you very much. Any other reports? No? Okay. Then we move on to item 10, public comment. I'll ask the city attorney to review the purpose of this item.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the opportunity in the meeting where the public has 3 minutes to speak on matters within the jurisdiction of the city. If you have comments, you direct them to the commission as a whole, not to individual commissioners. It's not a Q&A opportunity. If you have questions about something, maybe it's something the manager can handle, so you may get with him after the meeting. But the purpose of the 3 minutes is just to comment on matters, like I say, within the jurisdiction of the city. And just to remind the members of the commission, this is not a time to have a dialogue with the speakers. Just let them speak for 3 minutes, and then we move on to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll ask, as each person comes up, that you state your name and your address, and there'll be a timer there. Okay, yes. Hi, young lady. Name and address.
Good evening. Can you hear me properly? There we go, I think. My name is Truly Burton. I live at 4000 Island Boulevard in Aventura. I'll be about a minute, okay? And I'm just talking about pickleball right now. It's an enormously popular sport. Many cities have built a number of pickleball courts, and Miami-Dade is even considering building pickleball courts underneath the Metro Rail. Okay, that's how popular it is. That said, I think we are a bit behind on pickleball courts and construction here. And meeting both the passive and active recreational needs of our residents, I think is something that's very important to all of us here. I know it is important to you all as well. We want to be able to provide pickleball courts as well as tennis courts and other active recreational activities. And that's part of, I think, what Mayor Weinberg, you referred to as good government policy. We have to balance the needs for passive and active recreational needs for everybody. And also, we live in proximity here. We're close to each other, whether it's high rise, mid rise, or whatever. And I think just a bit more respectful tolerance of each other and what we all need is really important. Meantime, pickleball is here to stay, even though I don't play it. I play tennis, just for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. No applause, please. No booing, no applauding. Let's respect the rules. Yes, name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Jackie Cabral. I live in Aventura Bay Townhomes. Today, I want to discuss the transformation taking place in our beloved Founders Park. One that's sparking both interest, excitement, and also skepticism. The shift from natural turf to artificial turf. I'm here to advocate for why the change is not just beneficial, but crucial for our community. First and foremost, let's address the pressing environmental concern. Natural turf maintenance often necessitates frequent fertilizer. Over and over and over, never stops. The runoff from these fertilizers contain harmful toxins, wreaking havoc on our marine life and delicate ecosystem. Surrounding our stunning bays and oceans, our mangroves, protected by Florida statute, act as barriers against storms, hurricanes, and coastal erosion. Recognizing the devastating impacts of fertilizers on Biscayne Bay, Miami-Dade has imposed strict bans on fertilizer use during certain months. As residents of Aventura, we too must play our part, preserving our city and state's safety by transitioning away from these harmful practices. Beyond the elimination of harmful fertilizers, artificial turf also eradicates the need for toxic pesticides and herbicides. This reduction in chemical creates a safer environment for our children and our pets by minimizing the presence of disease-carrying insects such as mosquitoes and ticks. Moreover, artificial turf enhances safety. Its consistent surface minimizes the risk of injuries, providing a secure, safe for all sports activities. In closing, change may indeed feel uncomfortable at times, challenging us to leave behind the familiar for the sake of progress. However, it is essential to recognize that this transformation is a responsible choice, one that affects the environment, health, safety, and city resources in a positive way. Let's embrace this innovation and continue to enhance our parks for the enjoyment and well-being of all residents and future generations.
Thank you. No applause, please. Name and address, please. I don't need the, I don't need the address of a minor, but I need yours, so.
Hello, my name is Manya Borman. I live at 4,000 Island Boulevard, Unit 1001. This is my son, Benjamin Borman. He's a student at Aventura City of Excellence School. And we are here to talk about, well, the first thing I want to say is I am aware of the pickleball courts that are being built because I was a gardener and you guys took my garden away. And I was sad about that. And I hope that we can resolve something about that in the future. But my son is a big basketball player. And when I started talking to him and hearing about the fact that we're getting pickleball courts, I thought that was wonderful. And there's a sport that is very important to kids that he hasn't had the chance to say. And if he could say those words out of his own personal stuff, it would mean he'd like to. Is that okay with you guys?
Of course.
So Benji, you get over here and you say what you need to say.
So I'm just a kid. I don't know what's going on here, but I know that they're putting an authentic turf put. Can we please put a basketball court there? I mean, there's no area in the whole city of Aventura that they have basketball courts. They have everything there. They have baseball, baseball diamond, tennis, runners, joggers thing. They have workout areas. They have a playground for the kids. They have all this stuff, but they don't have a basketball court. There's nowhere that you could play basketball except school if you and it doesn't happen every day. So if there's any way that you can put a basketball court in Founders Park or put something in Williams Island where you can put a basketball court.
He's interested in the artificial turf. And he's hoping that with the artificial turf, maybe there would be a small spot to do a half court or something. Build just a court like that for the kids to play in a designated area. It would be, pickleball is very important and, every other, that's what he's interested in. To be outdoors, to play, a place to meet with his friends, to be able to just chill out and hang out, because where do they get to do that? Since COVID, they were stripped of those rights. These kids are with their parents all the time. And then if they're not with their parents, they have to be under supervision. Founders Park is safe. It's our home. These kids are able to ride their bikes, go on Saturday morning, go play. This is what should be happening for these kids. So if we do the artificial turf, please consider building at least a half court. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And Benji, I want you to know that when was it, Mr. Manager, a week ago when I was in the manager's office and I said, where is our basketball court? We know we need it. We lost it when we built the high school. I know you can play basketball at recess at Aces, but you want to play hoops after school. And we're looking for a solution. We're looking for a location. Hi, name and address, please.
Hi, good evening. Alicia Bonvicini, 3029 Ortiz 188th Street. I have met with few of you in person recently, and I really appreciated the time you took to listen to what I had to share and the subsequent conversations that we were able to have. But I'm here tonight to tell the commissioners who I didn't have the pleasure to talk to face, that the opposition to the project of turf at Founders Park has grown. I don't recollect in the past decade that I've lived here anything like this. I don't remember people protesting in the streets with kids. I don't remember such a heavy word of mouth about an event organized by residents for residents. Family with kids came together today very peacefully to remind you that nature is our future. The kids love to play on real grass. The plants can survive without humans, but humans cannot survive without plants. That Aventura's nature is our treasure, that we don't want synthetic turf and that we want to keep it real. These are some of the slogans that local adults and children wrote on their posters and were chanting outside of the same building an hour ago. Both the grass fields of our largest parks cannot be covered in synthetic turf. It doesn't make any sense and it's not fair. I'll spare you my very strong feelings about synthetic turf. I think I've shared them in this forum ad nauseum. What I want to say today is this. This decision is stripping parents from choice, the choice of selecting if they want their children playing and frolicking in artificial turf or real grass. And before someone tells me that we have Peace Park and veterans, so yes, we have those parks, but the population of Aventura has grown and will keep growing, and we cannot all huddle on the grass of those two small parks. We need an option, and we already have the option. Throughout all the meetings I've attended in the past year and a half, I've heard the word compromise being uttered over and over in reference to city decisions that have sparked resistance and frustration. My question is, where is the compromise here if both fields of our biggest parks will be covered with synthetic turf? Compromise is realizing that some people might like synthetic turf and others might be appalled by it and want real grass for their families. Do not take that choice away from them. I understand that halting a project like this will have cost. Rescinding contracts generally does. However, given the size of the group of locals who have against Founders Park covered in synthetic grass, it seems like the fair things to do. The permits have not yet arrived. We're urging you to go back to discuss the possibility of leaving the real grass of Founders intact. There is a commission workshop coming up. I know a process exists to bring this topic back on the table, and I'm pleading with the commissioners who do feel sympathetic towards the idea of keeping Founders grass field as is to initiate that process. To do so seems fair, given that there are new elements at play that might have not been in plain sight at the time this project was voted on. Look into what it might cost, whatever it entails, and very, very seriously, please consider the possibility of halting the project. Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, name and address, please.
Yes, Karen DeCou, South Tower, the Point of Aventura. I can't believe I'm here discussing pickleball once again. I just can't believe it. I want to thank the commissioners for voting to put in pickleball. I've been traveling a lot this summer and I came back and I heard we're being sued for the pickleball courts. So I was shocked. One of the objections is noise. I am sure that I trust you enough and the engineers enough to do what is necessary to mitigate as much noise as possible. Perhaps communication about that is more important as well. We live in Florida. I think there are maybe 3 days out of the year where I can open my windows. That's it. So what are they afraid of? I can't hear anything once my doors and windows are closed. So maybe there's 3 days. Really, what are we arguing about? I really believe, as you all know, that pickleball is here to stay. It's the fastest growing sport in the world, not just in Florida, but in the world. Wherever you travel, you can play pickleball, except in Aventura. It's unbelievable. Cities, counties, towns are doing it. Aventura can do it too. Whatever the opposition is, I know that you will do anything to mitigate it. I trust you all to do it. I wish the other residents did as well. I play pickleball in Hollywood right now. When I drive up, I get out of my car, there are maybe 12 people playing, 3 courts. I don't even hear the ball, and I'm very close to it. So whoever is in opposition because of noise, understand that, again, 3 days out of the year, you open your doors. What are we arguing about? Thank you all and wish you all a happy new year for those of you who haven't celebrated.
Thank you. Hi, name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Ofelia Duran. I live in 3300 Northeast 191st Street. I didn't want to speak today, but I was sitting there and I was wondering, what's the next decision you will take against the Aventura residents without consulting Aventura resident? Will you change city's name? Maybe you want to put a city of plastic or city of noises? I don't know. I'm talking to you, but I'm not sure if you are listening because have come in here and your face tell me you are not listening and your decisions are the same. Thanks, Commissioner Marks, because you asked the proper question. I appreciate that. Then I need to take this. I know you can't answer us. I know maybe you aren't listened us. And then I need to do this and read. Dear ladies and gentlemen.
Excuse me, you have to face the commission. I'm sorry.
¿Cómo?
You speak to the commission. You not speak to we have rules here. You speak to the
Okay,
commission.
then like this.
Okay, they can
It's
watch
okay
you, they
like
can
this?
hear you.
Okay. Dear
you.
ladies and gentlemen, I've been rewatching the public meetings for the last 3 months. We, the residents of Aventura, are already tired of standing up and speaking for hours. Last meeting, 33 human beings spoke here. We are tired. Our current mayor and commissioner have violated legal agreements, and unfortunately, they don't seem to be listening to the concern of us, the citizens. They received cease and desist letter, and they continue and speed it up. All of them have made decisions that go against the wishes of the residents. It's time for us to take action. It's time to maybe start recall the mayor and the commissioners who are not listening us. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Greg Salazar. Live in 3675 North Country Club Drive in Aventura. So distinguished mayor and commissioner, city manager. I first want to thank you guys. It's hard to really do what you do and to please everyone here. We live in a 3-mile radius community, and there's a lot of requests. But I think you guys do an amazing job for the common good of everyone here. I'm here to speak about the field, the turf. I've been playing softball here in Aventura. I'm a resident for 20 years. And I played travel when I was younger. And I've noticed that a lot of the fields right now are going with turf. And especially here in Aventura, we have a lot of rain and a lot of kids want to come out and play. So I understand what the lady said before, keeping the grass. But I think I'm really in favor of keeping our kids playing. And it's really hard to maintain the grounds when it's very, it's so wet, and it keeps the kids from coming. So I really love what you guys did in waterways, and I'm excited. Hopefully we can get one in Founders as well. And thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
My name is Michael Jacobs. I live at 20875 Northeast 31st Place.
I've lived in Aventura for 18 years and I played softball for 16 years at Founders Park and Waterways Park. And for the last 7 years have been I guess they call me the commissioner of the Aventura Adult Softball League. I wanted to say thank you. I'm not going to turn around, but I think Kimberly Merchant is still here and I wanted to thank her for her ongoing support and everything she does for the Adult Softball League. Since the Softball League had turf, which was a couple months ago, and we have 120 adults that come every Sunday to play, I have not had one player in the league say one bad thing about the turf. Every single player loves the turf. We have no more rainouts. We had one rain delay for about 15 minutes. And then as everyone knows in South Florida, it could be raining. And then a couple minutes later, it's beautiful outside. And we got to keep playing. If it was not a turf field, that would have been the end of the day. So also, I understand that there are pesticides used on the fields. And myself being an 11-year stage 4 cancer survivor, I feel 100% comfortable playing on a field of artificial turf. As group before had said, they had installed it for her son as a safety. And I would let my kids have been on the field at Waterways, and we look forward to playing on the field at Founders Park once the turf is installed. Last thing is there were some injuries on the field of Founders Park. For those who have played baseball or softball, sometimes you get a bad bounce. And there were a lot of bad bounces at Founders, some guys getting injured. And with the turf field, you get a true bounce. We get no more injuries and you can slide on it. And there's absolutely no safety problems on that field. So thank you very much for installing it. We look forward to the Founders Field as well.
Thank you. Hi, name and address, please.
My name is Jeff Schwager. I'm a resident and member of the board of Aventura Marina. I represent over 1,000 residents, the great majority of which feel like I do. I'm speaking in opposition to the repurposing of Founders Park South. I've been here speaking for this is my third meeting in a row, along with my fellow residents, and every time we get up to speak, all we get are blank stares, no emotion, no acknowledgement that you're even listening to us. Howard Weinberg has actually stood up while people are speaking here and walked out for whatever reason. The ultimate disrespect. But we feel that we deserve this. The people of Aventura have allowed people to run unopposed for office. So we shouldn't be surprised that we have non-representative government, a government that would rather spend taxpayer money defending a lawsuit rather than approaching the citizens who put them in office and explain to us their plan, how it might affect the families closest to the project, and ask for some feedback. In contrast, the city government of Franklin Park, a borough of Pittsburgh, built pickleball courts in a city park in 2019 to try to encourage people to go outdoors during COVID. The city had previously promised to keep that park as a quiet area. After many noise complaints, the city tried and failed to find adequate noise mitigation. They then tried to enforce an ordinance to have the players use quieter rackets and balls, but the players refused to abide. So last month, on August 4th, the city closed all the pickleball courts. The mayor and council members apologized to the affected residents. They said they were unaware of the noise issue at the time they built the park, something that you cannot say. In addition, they are now asking the residents surrounding the park for feedback on what type of activities they would like to see at the park. This is an example of true representative government. The courts that you're now rushing to build and complete will eventually close and the park will be restored, whether through legal action or at the ballot box. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. There will be no grant money to restore the park once you complete it. That will be a taxpayer expense, as are the legal fees that you're now incurring fighting against your own constituents.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hi, I'm sorry, in the microphone. Thank you.
Bevan, okay, 3340 on 90th Street.
Hope you guys all had a pleasant summer. I had some time to reflect about Founder's Park South this summer. And usually when there's strong and varied opinions, I try to put myself in your shoes. So that's what I did, and I imagined myself what it would be like at the beginning of the year. At the time, you know, there were some known facts that there's a proposal to increase tennis use and pickleball, and the Parks Department identifies a park. Legal signs off that there are no issues, and the bonus is you get a grant. So I'm thinking these are all city professionals, and why would I double check their work? This is it shows up as a resolution. Given these facts, I'd probably vote yes also. I would. But the problem, and unfortunately, all these facts arrive after the resolution because we didn't know about it. Before the vote, I hope that you were advised that there were restrictive covenants and not just there were no legal issues. Anyway, the city attorney clearly stated that there were no claims, that they would be barred and you would certainly fail. So that's 100%. That's 100% probability. So why would you disagree? I wouldn't. Anyway, there's a lot more that happened since then. You know the facts. I know the facts of what's happened since, and now there's lawsuits. So we don't know. We really don't know what will happen next. But the city filed a motion to dismiss. So we'll both wait and see what happens with that. Our residents are asking us questions, so we'll wait and see. But I will say this, if the motion is not dismissed, it is no longer 100% probability that this will certainly fail. And if I'm in your shoes, I would then say, well, now what happens? Do we need to rethink this? What happens with the grant? Does that cause an issue? I empathize with all of you. I really do. You're trying to do the best for our city. But I think when the facts change, and if the facts change, then you need to adapt. We all need to adapt. So maybe we can redesign the park to be a passive park and include picnic tables, shade structures, trees, walking paths, and landscaping. All of that is included in the grant, would also satisfy the grant. So there is a way out. Let's wait and see what happens. And thank you for looking out for taxpayers and our community. So thank you.
Wow, on the button, Bevan. Thank you. Hi, name and address, please.
Hi, Ariel Penzer, 3340 Northeast 190th Street. I'm sure you already know my name, and I'm sure you're sick of hearing it by now, but I'm not going anywhere. I represent a voting bloc of very concerned constituents who are not concerned about one decision, but they're concerned about a plethora of decisions. I didn't intend in June to get into any sort of war with any of you or to nitpick at the decisions you're making for our city. But once I started looking into what was going on and sitting at these meetings, I grew very disheartened and disappointed. One of your commissioners said it would be a very different thing if there were hundreds of people out here protesting, but we absolutely have hundreds and actually thousands of signatures on the petitions. Many of those people work full-time jobs and have families to attend to and can't come to every meeting to speak out. But I will tell you, they are texting me, they are calling me, they are thanking me for standing up for Aventura and for protecting our rights and our green spaces and any sort of mental health quality that our residents are to have. My husband's family has been here since before Aventura was even called Aventura. It's just, I understand there are needs for the housing and I understand there are needs for recreational sports, but the way you're going about doing things, just voting yes on things like Dr. Commissioner Marks said, without workshopping them properly, without doing your due diligence and your fiduciary responsibility to get a second legal opinion about things where they were obviously needed when someone might not know about property and zoning. And maybe they should have considered consulting someone else at their legal firm who did at the time before the decision was made and not afterwards. I'll tell you, the residents are absolutely disheartened, and that the reason that they're not coming here and speaking to you is because they're disheartened. There's some sort of bystander effect where they think somebody else will do what's right and somebody else will stand up for what's right, or that we can trust that you guys are doing your jobs, that you guys are doing your fiduciary responsibility. And the more I sit here, the more the media gives me calls every day, the more people who are opposing different projects call me and beg me to do something. What can we do to protect Aventura? The more disheartened I'm getting. Is there anything we can do to get you guys to listen? Is there anything that we can do? I know you're not allowed to answer, but maybe you'll take meetings with the representatives from various environmental groups who are not pedestrians coming here to say they love the turf, but actually looking at the scientific facts of what this artificial turf does, actually looking at the scientific facts of the noise problems of the pickleball and what's going on with litigation around the country. And I hope you guys will do a good job and act like you care. Thank you for your duty.
Thank you. Hi, name and address, please. A little louder, please. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, Sue Wang, 3115 Northeast 184th Street. Aventura is a beautiful city and it's a small town. Everybody know each other. We know our neighbors, and some of our neighbors are your friend. Some of your friends are my neighbors and my friends. And we know we all love our city. I understand our commissioners try to do the best for the decisions. Perhaps we can revisit the decision we made last year. Some our commissioner and our mayor side, it was passed by the previous commission, but we could, it's never too late to revisit the decision. I like the gentleman said earlier, how do we satisfy the grant with the current situation? Perhaps it's a good idea. We could build something as beautiful as we had before, and we can still use a grant. Perhaps we can find another location, satisfy the neighbors, and I understand there is agreement. When you fight with your own voters or your own taxpayers, do you really win? If you win, I think if you win, you lose when you fight your own voters and taxpayers. And I would believe that if there is agreement, we're losing. And me as taxpayer, I don't understand the concept. I just don't understand. Pickleball, last time I said, I don't play it. Probably I'm on the way to retirement. I would love it. Perhaps we can build it somewhere. It doesn't mind the noise. Maybe near the mall, maybe somewhere, so many people come up with different ideas. I know we have a wonderful team. We have our city manager. Maybe we can find somewhere satisfy both sides. I really appreciate you can listen, and perhaps the lady side, maybe we could rediscuss this at a workshop. Maybe find a compromise. And we are just a small town, and we all know each other, and we all love our city. I have no doubt about any one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, if not, I don't see anyone. I'll close public comment. Any other business? Any commissioners? Anything else? If not,
There's a bike, biking with the police on Sunday. Yeah, biking with police 9 o'clock. We did this a couple times a year. It's a wonderful opportunity to meet the police officers and exercise. And it's, if you haven't been out there, definitely show up at 9. And I think we hit the road about 10 o'clock. We make a circle around Country Club Drive. It's a great event.
yes, we were Miami-Dade County Bike City 305 award winners. Anybody else? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Cruz and seconded by Vice Mayor Bloom. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.